In Vodafone Czech Republic, we believe from the start of the organization that if people don't live brand internally, they cannot give it out to external customer. And if we talk about brand, brand is everything, is our DNA. Hand in hand with brand is our values going. So we have created our values, and this is something that we try to live here every single day. And values are just helping brand, and brand is helping customers.
From our first days as the company Oscar, we were a very brand-oriented company. Mm-hmm. That's not just about our customer promises. This is about starting with the employees of the organization and understanding and being aligned with the brand and those brand values. It's very close also to the culture of the organization, because the way we actually deal with our customers, interface, the type of people in this organization, it all actually is indicative of what our brand is about and what our brand stands for. In Czech Republic, I would say our culture is quite dynamic. The people are quite dynamic. It's fairly informal in terms of discussions or the people that you talk to in the organization. It's less hierarchical. It's quite, I would say, team-oriented or collaborative in nature, and very also results-oriented. But interestingly, we have a culture of being very creative and also very analytical. Like, these two worlds actually come together in this organization. Very strong brands have a very clear focus in terms of that customer segment that they provide some service to. And our employees as well are probably in that same type of segment as the customers that I think we serve best.
We recently had a visit from Vittorio Colau, our global CEO, and he said, okay, the moment I came into the building, I felt the brand. They live the brand there. It's you can feel it. You can feel it, and I think that's the difference. So I would say it's the values and the internal culture, and it's the pulse. It's really you never know. Maybe I come to my desk now, and there's gonna be somebody, and I'm saying, I have a great idea.
And that's living the brand.
Yeah, that's living the brand.
So everything in the organization needs to be aligned so that you get a clear focus, you can work collaboratively, you can be effective in the decision making, and it all comes together in, well, for example, if you play tennis, if you hit that perfect shot in the sweet spot in the middle of the racket, that's what we're after.
We call it big, hairy, audacious goal, and it's about that we, Vodafone Czech Republic, we create future of a mobile industry, because we understand the mobile industry, in 3 years, is going to be looking completely different. Maybe we don't know yet, but we're going to create that. So it's really brave. Then we have the strategy, how to achieve this vision, and then we also have the values, the culture, and it's integral part of the business model, and it cannot be separated.
We have an approach to business where we look at 3 components. We look at what we're doing, how we're doing it, and where we're going. Now, all of these components need to work together so that we can be as successful as what we want to be. But there's one thing that's also special on top of this, which is in the middle of these 3 dynamics that are pulling together, we have what we call the purpose of the organization, which is really about the customer. We also went back and said to our customers, what is it that is working for you or not working for you when it comes to using your mobile phone for doing emails or internet access. Our Christmas program for our customers, we launched an offer of internet in your mobile 6 months for free.
The other promise was about taking care for the existing customers better than for new, and we changed the industry completely. So, and everybody before it was like you crazy, you cannot offer everything that, to your existing customers, because like in 2 years you wouldn't be here. We actually see, after 2 years, we started to see that the loyalty and the satisfaction with, from the existing customers is much higher than for the competition. And we think that this is one of the major reasons, because we made this step. It was a brave step. It was driven by the values, and we were hoping that and believing that by being transparent and open and being fair, this is a strategy that long term is profitable, and we see that it was true.
I know some people say, do organizations have values? I say, you know what, actually I think the people in the organization have values, and it was quite an interesting exercise, because when we completed this, it was a very common and cohesive list of values that were represented, and they were quite common across all of the organization. This wasn't like a top-down approach.
We now call that values in the bottle. We are fresh and original, that we respect different opinions, that we stand behind our people. We are humans, not just machines. It talks about these human resources versus people, that we keep our word, that we have courage to stand out, and that we feel here as home. So these are 7 values that we put together.
Every year we check back to see if they're still consistent. As a matter of fact, we do employee surveys to say which of these values are we performing well against, and which do we still have a little bit of work to do.
I actually brought a copy of our strategic plan, and as you see, the first level is the purpose, and we were talking about it. So everything we do, we want to remove boundaries for customers. And then on the second row you see a brand plan. So we actually it's everything. It's we know that everything that we do needs to support the brand. Underneath the brand you see the strategic objectives. We have 4, and one talks about the simplification of business, again from the customer point of view. The second about the becoming the most preferred partner on the enterprise market. Number 3 is about being number 1 in consumer preference and consideration, because in consumer market we started earlier, as Oscar, so we have better position. And then last but not least is the strategic objective number 4, which is building the best brand engagement for employees and customers in the Czech Republic. Underneath you will find the value propositions, strategies, individual strategies, and the individual strategies, but all needs to support the brand and the purpose. And then, at the bottom, you see the key enablers and initiatives.
Now, I noticed that you have clearly a BHAG here, big, hairy, audacious goal, for achieving 25% cost savings. That's quite a challenge, right?
It is, but again, we look at it, because if you say achieving 5% of cost savings, what would people do? They would normally say, okay, so I'll save a little bit of here, a little bit here, and a little bit here, and in the end it gives me 5%. When we give ourselves a goal of 25%, that means a significant change in the business model, and though significant change in the thinking. For example, I just had a document from my interactive marketing team about how we look at the business communication, and because they actually got some cuts in their budget, and it's perfect. It's something, is so good, and I'm sure they're going to actually save more than 25%. But it's not about the number as such, but it's about actually changing the thinking of people in the company, so they can actually look at things and see maybe this is smarter. Maybe we do this because we've done it always, but like it's not efficient anymore. So we cut back.
You talked about teams when we started out the conversation, and teams and team building. So would you maybe talk about your approach to teams and Vodafone?
Teams and working cross-functionally are very important to me, very important to the organization. Taking a siloed approach to business, I find significantly less effective than if you're working cross-functionally or in a collaborative environment. The key for something like this is to make sure that you're still effective and efficient, because you need to have good decision-making in a collaborative environment. Otherwise, you just go around in a circle. So there's a difference between consensus and collaboration. It started with the people, getting the right people in the organization, because having the right people meant that we could put the plans and strategies in place to make sure that we were looking after the customers.
Of course, my responsibility is, I don't call it like human resources. People love to talk about people here, because so I'm responsible for people generally. If we talk about strategies and transformation in people, I have to assure that we have people plan, which is based on the strategies and which is built and developed on the strategies and supporting them. A plan which is talking about which activities are we going to support in the business and for the business.
We have a brand onboarding session for all the employees. Like, it's for newcomers, it's like it's been always like that, but we now have it for all employees, because our brand evolves. People need to understand, even the people from technology, like why brand is so important and why Vodafone brand is so important for us. During the recruiting interviews, we also show them how we work. We show them the working environment. We also show them the values, because this is something that is so important for us. So we need the people, like the people that are applying for a job here, they need to know upfront. And if they can make a decision, okay, like these set of values, I couldn't work here. For me, no. I think one good thing to mention is that he's got a, we call it in Czech is parťák, but it's like a body, like it's like a body. So like you are here for the first day, and you get a buddy, somebody from usually from your department, and he is your buddy for the first month.
It's not only hiring, but it's sometimes getting people from other operating companies of Vodafone who are further ahead in terms of some strategies we want to deploy here, and try to get them here. On the opposite side, we are a pilot for like some of the strategies, and we may help other opcos, operating companies, to kind of transfer our people and give experience somewhere else. Also, we talk about capabilities, is development, overall development of our people, and we run a process in the company which is called development boards, very interesting one. It's a series of workshops, again, trying to bring the capabilities and talents bottom up the organization and try to match them with these capabilities which will be needed for the future.
I noticed some interesting things. You have this a neat little magazine, Chili Chili, and it's clearly your magazine, but I don't see the Vodafone brand or logo on the cover.
You know, I would say that if you actually look at something, if you look at the Chili Chili magazine, you would be able to look at it and say, this is Vodafone Czech.
We don't need a logo there. This is the second most read magazine in the Czech Republic It's distributed for free. We actually, to our customers who want it, we actually send it to their home addresses. But what's best is because it's so popular in Czech Republic, we actually 20% of that is financed by advertising from other companies. So it's actually it's a revenue stream, but the content is why people get it. So we don't need a logo. In November we launched the online version, and is as successful as the printed version, because like the target group really is now on internet, but again doesn't have our logo.
You have some major competitors here. To the extent that you can, would you describe how you're different?
Sure. When we were launching the organization, we took an approach where we said, let's do things different than the competition, because we're a number 3 operator. What we did is we said we're only going to deal direct with our customers. So we had a direct delivery model where customers could call and we would have home delivery or delivery to their office of their new handset or SIM card. When we launched our organization, we had retail locations, but we didn't have a dealer network. So even our approach in terms of channel was, let's make sure that our focus on the customer is actually managed by the organization. If you have a significant dealer network, can we actually, turn around propositions within 24 hours? It's a bit more difficult when you have this second or third order impact that you have to deal with partners.
Why is CSR such an important part of your management philosophy?
From my perspective, making sure that we have a balance in the business in terms of getting our employees to be engaged in not just the day-to-day of work, but also their environments, what's going on in their country, and what can we also do, what can we give back to help make a difference, is just part of doing business. I don't think that you can underestimate how important CSR activities are for an organization. And I think you'd also probably be quite surprised at when an organization and when people in a company start taking something like that and taking ownership themselves, the power that it can actually have in terms of helping the community.
Along the way, when talking to executives, you said you don't do CSR as some companies might be perceived as doing because it helps the bottom line. It's something that you see as independently necessary.
Yeah, you cannot, or I believe you should not actually let your CSR activities jump into the world of marketing of an organization. If you do that, you're not really approaching your CSR activities as being, pure of heart, and if they end up in the marketing world, then they become a piece of approach to marketing as opposed to something that you're doing to support your environment or support the people in your country.
If I look at the values, we asked few people in the organization if there should be 8th value, what would you recommend it to be? And interestingly, but most of the people said, okay, we are here at home, but we are not here alone. So we should even think about other groups of people outside Vodafone and look after really well-being of people even outside Vodafone. So there is a strong feeling of people internally for CSR, and it drives us really forward. We have also the program for our people and for external people to live 1 year differently, which enables individuals to spend entire year, which is paid by Vodafone, and helping and supporting non-profitable organizations outside.
You have moved to business customers too since in the last few years. Has
Yes.
that changed the way you do business, or has it had any significant impact on the culture?
I would say yes. When we were in the early years with Oscar, we were a very consumer-focused organization, and we also focused on smaller businesses. So 1 in 4 business customers were with us, but they were towards the smaller or medium-sized businesses. We then actually launched a total telecommunications solution, so customers could get voice, data, internet access. And moving into this world was almost like an opportunity of saying, we've grown up, we're a well-established company, we're part of the Vodafone family, and bringing new people into the business with a skill set and expertise that have a background in serving medium or larger businesses was something that I think we embraced, and it's where we're growing right now. Keeping sort of what's important in the core of the organization and the culture, and actually leveraging that. So taking what we were good at, what we were strong at in terms of delivery and execution and brand, and then just pushing it further down the road, further along the track, and leveraging it in a different segment in the marketplace.
We still are on our way. Like I would be lying if I told you that for business customers, we are #1 brand. We are not, and we know that. But it's a lot coming from a history, because we didn't focus on the business guys at all. We're now getting on the long list. We now starting to get on the short list. But like 2 years or 3 years ago, we wouldn't even get on the long list. So it's this evolution which we need to also. It's not only the product and services that we offer, but also the brand and the brand communication.
We are moving as the company, as the industry, quite to a new spheres. Out of mobile, being a mobile operator, so this is very interesting.
I think Muriel is really clear on all of us that we, in order to grow in the areas, and like we said, we have the big BHAG, like creating future of a mobile industry, so we need to try out new things, but nobody's going to give us money for that. So we need to save the money or be more efficient in core, like the mobile industry as we know it now, to be able to invest in the areas where we believe is the future.
I know that Vodafone in Africa does some very interesting things with people at the lower end of the income distribution. And I know in the Czech Republic you pay attention to the needs of disabled people. Talk a little bit about that and how that affects the operations of your organization positively or negatively.
I think that, you know, when you end up having a particular service that you can offer to customers or to a small segment of the customers, you're not necessarily doing something like that because it's going to be impacting the bottom line, but it is something that I think the organization can actually understand, relate to, and drive forward because it's so close to the type of business that we provide. So for organizations like ourselves in terms of telecommunications, when we actually come up with something that supports some particular segment using some form of telecommunications, it's something that we can actually gravitate to and we can actually understand better because it's like our home ground.
And it does feed back into your other activities too.
It feeds back into the other activities. You have the people in the organization who are skilled. You have the links into the community. So it's easier to align with the type of organization or the company that you're running. It's easier to align something like this than if you were to go into a completely different area where you don't necessarily have the in-house expertise.
It's very clear that you do things differently than most organizations. Like, I see all the promises that you make, including no asterisk, no small print in your advertising, but you do things which might seem to affect the bottom line negatively. What would your reaction be to my observation?
Just the opposite, actually.
These decisions are definitely driven from the values and from who we are. Of course, we look at the profitability, although it's difficult to guess at the beginning.
When you look at our approach to business, we have a brand umbrella, because everything we do needs to be aligned with our brand. And then we would have our focus on business or the consumer segments. But making sure that all of the organization is aligned with what we want to do and how we want to do it. Again, it adds this dimension of being able to leverage more, get a better focus, do fewer things better and faster than if we don't have the alignment.